And five, four, three, two, one. Welcome to another episode of the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast, where we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options, not having a clear plan is the enemy, and using a proven tax deferral strategy such as the Deferred Sales Trust is the best way for you to exit highly appreciated NFTs, business, cryptocurrency, real estate, save a failed 1031 exchange so you can create and preserve more wealth. Hey, I'm your host, Brett Swarts. In each episode, I'm joined by some of the best real estate, financial, wealth, NFT, and leadership minds in the world, where they share their ideas, deal stories, and inspiration. So together we can make complex tax deferral strategies simple and passive income plans achievable. We're also streaming on Expert CRE Secrets YouTube channel as well, and podcast. I'm excited about our repeat guest. He has a passion and has always been on the forefront for new tech trends, from biohacking to internet marketing. He knows where to invest his time. And so when the NFT wave came along, it was a natural fit for him to jump in early on because of his early interest into the market. He is one of the few established thought leaders within the NFT space and is consulted with over 400 plus NFT brands and has partnered with Reddit, Twitter, and Quora. As well, his two largest NFT projects, Sands Vegas Casino Club and Meta Legends, both sold out. As well, he is also a thought leader when it comes to helping big brands, and these are Fortune 500 companies, make sense of marketing and make sense of the cryptocurrency world. Please welcome to the show with me, Arvin Khamseh. Hey, Arvin, how you doing?
Great. Thank you so much for having me.
And for our listeners getting to know you for the first time, would you give them a brief overview of your story and your current focus?
100%. So I got into marketing 2012 as an actually blogger, and I took on many roles: marketing director, demand generation, a product marketer, and then investor relationship marketing director. And then, that ranges anywhere from small businesses to public companies, Fortune 500 companies. And up until I want to say to 2020, end of 2021, I was doing investor relationship marketing for public companies. And then October 2021, an artist from Italy reached out to me and he wanted me to sell out his NFT collection of very small size, only 10 actually pieces in it. And what I did for him was actually just like running Twitter ads, and then he sold out his entire collection. So that was awesome. And then it was like a proof of concept for me to go on and actually work with many, many more NFT projects. Lately, we had like Woman of Crypto hit #1 trending on OpenSea, #1 trending on IC Tools, and also many other projects that sold out. Like we had just World of Football sold out in 37 minutes, so on and so forth. So there's been many, many projects.
Amazing. We're going to talk about all things how NFT brands can make 1 million plus in a day and talk about some of these case studies. And part of our vision here at Capital Gains Tax Solutions is to bring innovative and creative investment opportunities, especially in the cryptocurrency space, and try to figure out a way to connect them to real estate investments as well. And all of these things are happening in a rapid pace. So it's great and an honor to have Arvin on the show. And so Arvin, what's the #1 secret when it comes to helping NFT brands make $1 million in one single day?
Yeah. So first of all, it's, they got to take the marketing very seriously. They can't just have a great art or even like utility and then just, sit, on the side and just, expect to be able to sell out. So they obviously need to be able to, communicate their message really well. And that's one of the things I do with brands first week of working with them, is to actually just figure out their messaging. So for example, for San Vegas Casino Club, the messaging was, you can be the house always wins. And so that's very important to actually come up with that. And then now as far as the ways on or methodologies on how to actually market a NFT, it's really dependent on like building communities. And for building communities, what I found best is running paid advertising and then also influencer marketing. So those two things. And then we do that, and we've done that for all the 400 NFT projects. And it has worked tremendously to build a community in a very short amount of time. So what it looks like is typically in 4 to 6 weeks, a NFT project goes from zero to building 80,000, 90,000, Discord members, lots of people on their Twitter, and then in a day where the public sale is live, everyone in the community, well, not everyone in the community, but a certain number of people in the community will buy the NFTs. And literally in that one day, the founder goes anywhere from 500K to $5-6 million in that day.
Wow. So let's pause there, right? Because a couple terms there that I want to unpack. Yeah. But the first thing is coming up with a very clear message. So maybe it's copywriting and clarifying what is it that you offer, what is it that you're trying to accomplish. That's step one. Mm-hmm. And then step two is building that community, and you're building that community over a period of time. It could be maybe 4 to 6 weeks before you're going live with this thing, this NFT or whatever it is that you're marketing. But you do this through a Discord. Define Discord for those who aren't sure what that is.
Yeah, so if people are familiar with Telegram or WhatsApp or any of these social media platforms where it's a group-based communication, so it's really based on people connecting with each other on an app. So that's what Discord is, except the only difference with Discord is that, first of all, it doesn't have any ads, so 0 ads on this platform. And then people get to connect in an anonymous way. So everyone has an avatar, has a username, and it's not really their name. It's never their name. And so a lot of people in the NFT community, they want to stay anonymous. Sometimes, because they have a lot of NFTs, sometimes because they're sketchy. So there are many, many reasons why they want to do that. But the majority of times it's just because at the very beginning, that's how it started, where people wouldn't say who the designers are, who the founders are. But that's actually changing. All brands are actually going the direction of being what they call a fully doxed team, meaning everyone reveals their identity. So regardless, Discord is a platform where it enables founders of NFT to be able to actually manage their communities in a really effective way, just because Discord is literally built on having a lot of features for managing communities, which is not the case, let's say, on WhatsApp or Telegram, other platforms. So that's why we use Discord.
Perfect. That's awesome. Thank you for explaining that. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to be releasing this, let's say, on Twitter or on other places. Walk us through that whole step when you have 0 to 80,000 potential members, and then a percentage of those are going to be buying these NFTs and marketing or helping the cause, right? Walk us through kind of that step by step of how the community all comes together.
Yeah. So the way it works is that, at the very beginning, you don't even have one member. And so what I tell people not to do is just believing in that misconception that no one wants to be first. So then they go and actually buy fake followers or fake members on their Discord. So obviously we don't want to do that. But if they have a bunch of influencers lined up, it's possible, literally in the first few days, you can get 10,000 people into your Discord. And we've done that for many projects. And so now what we do with that is literally we line up a bunch of influencers who are in the NFT community, or it could be just people who have millions of followers. They're not really necessarily in the NFT community, but they are in the, they could be literally let's say in the music, it could be in the gaming, they could be in the, they could literally be in history, whatever category they are in. But because they have a large following, we can still leverage that because everyday people are using NFTs and buying and trading NFTs. So that's the reason. Now, anyways, so we actually come up with a really good messaging. We have all these influencers to get lined up and talk about the project all at the same time. And then there's going to be a rush of people coming into the Discord. And that's what the hype is. So people get really excited because it's all of a sudden from nothing to 10,000 people, for example. So many people just got into Discord, forming these relationships with each other. So what they do, literally every day, they say hi to each other. So there's so in the NFT community, it's just GM, so good morning. That's a thing. They all say that, right? So they have their own language, they have their own terms. It's very nerdy, and they get connected over Discord for a specific NFT project. And then because of that, they not only, buy into a specific project, but also they end up actually connecting for other things too. It's just a community that's just formed around a specific artwork. And then, It is very cool.
growing up, I played some sports, right? You have a community there.
Yeah.
And then I played some video games, right? So we geek out with some of the video game
Yeah.
kids, and then it's these little subcultures, right? And that connection, and that's pretty fun. Is that a fair summary so far?
It is really fun. Like so for San Vegas Casino Club, I remember the day before they sold out. I sat on one of their AMAs, which is Ask Me Anything. And this was in the morning, and people were, just talking about, they have their inside jokes. They were just talking about things that happen in the community before they sell out, and they just encouraging each other to buy. They tell each other, I'm going to mint 3. Well, how many are you going to mint? And by the way, mint, for people who don't know, is just essentially buying NFTs at a time that's before it gets to the secondary market, meaning before it gets published on a public marketplace. So meaning buying the NFTs off a website, for example, that's called primary market, and they call it minting. Instead of saying buying. So anyways, they form these communities, and then they talk with each other. So I went on, I think it was like in the morning, I joined them, and then obviously left the AMA to do what I was doing. And then I came back maybe a few hours later. Some of those people were still there and still talking. And it's just so exciting to see like people get inspired for a specific project, for some artists to go. And sometimes these are artists that have never been known or appreciated in the world. And then now all of a sudden, because of the NFT project, now everyone knows them, and everyone's going to buy their NFTs. And then the artists will also get to do more art the way they like it. So it's just a lot of positive impact that it has in the world.
I love it. I think about like old school marketing, right? Like maybe back in the 80s, you had to get on like the Arsenio Hall show, or you got to get on, maybe that's the 90s, right? You got to get on all the, NBC, ABC commercials, or you got to be at the Super Bowl commercial. And then Facebook and Twitter and all these things come along. And then you got to be on social media, you got to run the ads. And it's almost like it's democratizing some of the marketing, right? And the reach, by banding everyone together to support one another, and also, share like amazing art or amazing projects or amazing things. Is that a fair summary, Arvin?
Yeah, exactly. And the cool thing about that is that even though the art is being shared, the artist still gets credit for it everywhere it goes, which is really cool functionality of NFTs. Because let's say in the past, if you were to, let's say you had a track from an artist, let's say an audio track, from an artist, and then you would share it with someone else, the artist wouldn't get credit for it. So you just essentially pirated a like music that that artist made, right? Versus with NFTs, you still know, no matter who is trading it, no matter who's buying, who's selling it, you still know who the artist is. It's all in the blockchain of things. So again, blockchain, if people not sure what that means, it's just a database of all these transactions, all these different functionalities that are happening are all going to be recorded in this database, and it's all timestamped, and we know who's who essentially in that database. And so let's say if it's an artist that had in a specific art, let's say it's like a new album that they just releasing, and then they want maybe someone from the community is like sharing it with other people. Then what happens is the artist, every time the art is being sold or just being bought by people, they get somewhere around 3 to 10% royalties for that piece of art, which is really cool, because now artists actually get the credit they deserve. So
that's amazing. I love that. I love that. Right. That's fantastic. By the way, if someone wants to work with you, Arvin, what's the ideal type of client who might want to work with you, and maybe they're an artist, maybe, what does it look like? Kind of give us maybe the last couple of case studies.
Yeah. So I would say I like working with projects that they have, they have thought things through, as opposed to just like saying, hey, everyone's doing NFTs, I want to do NFTs too. And so I like them to have a team, so community manager. I like them to have some marketing budget. Typically what I found is that for projects, let's say for a 10,000 collection size to sell out, they need somewhere around $60,000 to be able to market properly. And so if they don't have it, then I usually tell them to go with a smaller collection size and they make money from that. They don't need as much marketing dollars for that. And then, they go for a larger collection size. And then I like projects that are not just PFPs, meaning just like profile pictures. So the ones that they have some utilities behind them. I actually, at this point, I happen to be, in the involved with some of the celebrities from Hollywood, just doing their own NFTs. So that's like really cool. I really enjoy doing that because for me, it's just personally, it's really cool to get to meet these people, but also just being involved with their projects. But to be honest, like I have a program for people who don't have like a huge budget to spend, where they can just learn everything that I would do for them or I would teach them. Just inside this program, they get like group calls with me, and they can do everything on their own pace, and also basically just not spend a lot of their marketing budget on someone's actually doing it for them. So that's called the Sold Out NFTs program. And then some projects I just do consulting, where they have all the pieces together, but they just want someone who has been involved with at least 400 or so projects. They know what happens, let's say a few days before the mint day. What happens after that? When should you reveal it? What time should you reveal your NFTs, so on and so forth. So those are little things that it's good for some advisor to come in and just tell NFT projects about.
Fantastic.
So those are,
by the way,
yeah.
you can connect with Arvin by going to Twitter. Open your Twitter, twitter.com/ARVINK NFT. So Arvin K NFT is his Twitter handle. So that's really cool. So you've got like, hey, you can have me done for you, right? But you're going to have a team already kind of in place, a community manager, and then also a marketing budget of about $60,000. And then they would pay you to like, hey, do it for me. It's kind of already there. You run the NFT project, boom, and they launch for it. And or you have more of maybe a little bit better budget or a lower budget option where they can hire you and get some group coaching and kind of get help on that way. Is that a fair summary so far?
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Very cool. So now let's shift a little bit to capital gains tax. So part of people are wondering like, why do we have Arvin on here? Well, A, NFTs are part of the future. B, they're an investment. C, there's also ways to defer capital gains tax, right? Because NFTs, crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, these are subject to huge capital gains taxes, right? Especially some of these wild appreciated values that we've seen. In fact, Arvin, I'm working with a gentleman who's got OMI is the NFT, and it's gone into the tens of millions of dollars in value. And he's looking at the Deferred Sales Trust, and I do hope to report back that he becomes a client. He's looking at the Deferred Sales Trust right now. Everything's looking like it's a go. He is waiting for it to hit a certain new exchange, and he thinks that when it hits that new exchange place, it'll increase the trading volume and the liquidity opportunities and the value. So just talk about the ability to exit NFTs and defer capital gains tax. What would that mean for some of the clients and partners that you serve?
Yeah, so I think that's actually a very important side of things where I remember initially I wasn't thinking much about a lot of projects, and myself. We were all just thinking about selling out, and then that's it. And we didn't think about like what we're going to do afterwards. But obviously, I've had plenty of these sellouts where now we're thinking about, okay, so what happens afterward? And one of the important thing is they need to increase their floor price. So when you were talking about the volume of things, there's a specific volume of trading that happens for any specific projects. Now, what the founders want to do is to actually increase that. And the more they increase it, the higher they go on the, let's say, if it's like, let's take an example of like OpenSea marketplace. The more they increase it, the higher up they go in the ranking of OpenSea, the more they're going to be known, and the more people actually come in, become a part of the project, be an owner of their NFTs. So it's very important. Now, the floor price, for people who don't know what that is literally I guess the lowest price that you can get into any projects. So that's called a floor price. Now, after the sellout, they want to increase their floor price to be able to show that this project is sustainable. And actually, on the flip side of things, if the floor price drops to somewhere close to zero, that project is done. And so now, I've been involved obviously in projects where they sold out, and I looked at how they've done things. So some of them, they they obviously get paid in cryptos. So that is for most of them, it's actually Ethereum. So then what they do, they pay everyone, their promoters, they could be community managers in crypto as well. And then they take out some of the money from the contract. That's the smart contract we're talking about. But then typically most of the times they don't cash it out. And I believe the reason for that is if they cash out the crypto earning at any time, then at that point they have to actually pay for the taxes. So they typically keep it and then they turn it into other NFTs. So, or they reinvest it back into their own project where they can even make more. And as long as I guess it's not just the rent money, they don't need to really cash it out anytime soon. So they can just keep it and just play with that and just make it even a larger investment.
Got
For
it. And so
themselves.
we would come in, just so everyone who's listening, we just did
Yeah.
an Ethereum sale for a client exit strategy with the Deferred Sales Trust. They bought it for about 100,000 and went to 13.5 million. But along the way, it was, it was 1 million, it was 6, it was back to 1 million, it was 8, it was back to 4, it was 13, back to 9. It was just all over. And at a certain point, you want to exit at these let's say high parts in the market. I mean, we see Bitcoin now at about 39,000. It was at about 68, 69,000 a few months back, and now it's all the way down. And so if you can time your exits, defer your tax, and then buy back into crypto, all tax deferred, that's the vision that we're trying to help people do. But also diversify, because you might want to invest into some investment real estate. I know this client with the OMI, he's looking at exiting and buying Airbnb rentals on the beach, right? And then buying some multifamily apartment complexes and getting some more traditional investments. He's not going to sell out of all of his NFTs, but portions of it, right? Where you can take some chips off the table. And so that's where we would come in. Any thoughts on that, Arvin?
Yeah, I actually did that myself just recently. So I just got a new property, and like plan is just like rent it. So that's 100% something I do. I also just buy NFTs, and then I just keep them. Like there's certain NFTs that you can just buy and keep. You don't have to like trade all the time. There's certain NFTs that like they have a future. Their price point is going to go up. So it's just an investment, right? So you just keep it. You keep it in your wallet. Um, and then I actually that's majority of times what I do. Those two ways so far. Obviously, I want to learn from you to just see what are some other ways we could do that. But those have been the two ways I've done.
Love that. And by that way, you're gonna be doing some conference. You want to plug that conference or that mastermind?
Yes.
What's gonna be
So
happening? What's going on there?
yeah, so we're gonna have a lot of NFT founders come together, and we're gonna provide a lot of resources for them and these are for people who not just after just sell out once and then be like, okay, we just made a bunch of money and then that's it. These are for people who want to be in this industry. They want to make a lot of obviously money, but also just make a huge impact on people as well as they've already done with their sellouts. And so we're going to have a lot of resources, a lot of people coming in with different specialties and just telling them, hey, along the way, basically, what are some mistakes that they don't have to make, and so they can prevent it. And then also thinking bigger, than what they may do it on their own, because we're going to bring people, and some of these NFT owners that inviting, they already they're like top 40 in the world. So a lot of things that they've done is actually helpful for people who are not there yet, but also like even for them or those kind of people, we're going to bring some resources that they may have not seen or
Phenomenal.
heard. Yeah. So
And by the way, you can learn more about Arvin Khamseh at go to twitter.com/ARVINK NFT. And that being said, if you also want to learn more about the Deferred Sales Trust, by the way, you want to learn how we do all that, we have a cryptocurrency mastermind, DST mastermind, every Friday, where we're showing people how to do this. We're having live clients on. We have new people that are learning about it, CPAs, financial advisors, commercial real estate experts, and we kind of geek out about this Deferred Sales Trust and how to exit, defer the tax, and do all of these things. That's every Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern. You go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com to learn more. Capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. That being said, Arvin, are you ready for the lightning round?
Let's do it.
All right. Knowing what you know now, what's the one NFT project that you wish you would have gone maybe more all in on, that you knew you should have done it or you felt like it, but you didn't? Just the one. Just give me one.
It was Cyberpunks. Yeah.
What was Cyberpunks? Tell
Okay,
us.
so so it was at the time that I was actually looking at it, the prices were not like what it is right now. Obviously, right now, I believe the smallest they have is like somewhere around like 300K, 400K. At the time, it was nowhere near that. And this is I want to say 2019, I want to say. And so this is a few years ago, obviously, but I could see this is funny. Like I my sister would talk about things, and we could see how like every day we were talking about and not buying, this price was just going up, literally every day. And then we just watched the price going up so much that we were like, okay, we're too late. So
Cyberpunks. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the one. All right. Then.
Yeah.
Knowing what you know now, if you could go back and maybe buy one cryptocurrency, or even right now, like what do you feel like is a good solid buy that you're investing in right now?
Yeah, I'm diversifying. I'm going like lots of different I guess coins, even like alternative coins, but mostly I'm on Solana and Ethereum.
Mhm.
And the reason probably for that is just because most of the NFTs are on Solana and Ethereum too. And I think part of the function of NFTs is to hold the value of the cryptos. So that's why.
Perfect. That makes perfect sense. Yep.
Mhm.
And my wife and I and our children were doing some ETH mining. We got 2.5 rigs right now.
Nice.
And we build them out, and we're doing. I think we got about we got a little bit going here with its building every month. So
that's cool.
And second to last question, is there any like books on NFTs or Bitcoin or Ethereum that you would recommend someone would read?
I have not read fortunately many books on NFTs, just because there's not actually a lot of books out there. But I would say if they can get hold of anyone's that's just talking about their personal experiences for NFTs, that's typically like the best type of knowledge, because there are people like myself who are just like sharing like how they've done things like in a form of case studies, and it could be on Reddit, it could be like anywhere. Like if they can find those are the most helpful ones. And I every now and then I just see it just shows up on my feed, but not a specific person, unfortunately, that I know. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All good. So what's the for those who want to get that's actually the last question. So and so for people who want to get in touch with you, Arvin, because we're running out of time, what's the best place for them to find you?
Yeah, so if they want to just check out my case studies, that's on soldoutnfts.io. So that's soldnfts.io. If they want to get in touch with me on Twitter and Instagram, Arvin K NFT. That is ARVINKNFT. And on Twitter, I'm most responsive.
Fantastic. Arvin, thanks for being on the show for the second time. We got to have you back again as well. And everyone look for that potential conference, online summit, mastermind thing that's going to be coming up. I'm looking forward to being part of that with Arvin and adding some tax knowledge if he'd have me. And thanks, Arvin, for being on the show. And also want to thank our listeners for listening to the episode of the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast. As always, we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them, they struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy, and using a proven tax deferral strategy, such as the Deferred Sales Trust, is the best way for you to exit highly appreciated NFTs, businesses, real estate, other cryptocurrency, so you can defer millions of dollars of capital gains tax or help your friends, family, and clients do the same. You can go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com to learn more about all of that. Join our free mastermind. Check out our new book that's coming out, Building a Tax Deferral Exit Strategy. The guy named Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank is in the book, which is really cool as well. We're also streaming expert CRE secrets out there, so we appreciate everyone listening on that YouTube channel, on that podcast. And we will talk to everybody again.